And welcome back to Operation 8th Air Force. It's turn 8.1 for Germany. It's now January of 1940, and we'll kick things off with tech. So I'm going to roll for the same 4 tech dice that we seem to be missing consistently, a bit like our battles. So I'm going to roll for advanced mech at a 7, radar at a 7, advanced subs at an 8, and long range at an 8. Let's see if we can improve our rotten luck. All right, here we go. Put that in shot. There we go, that's better. Okay, so we've got a 7 that's light blue, and that is radar. So we'll go to stage 3 and radar. Got a 6, we know that's nothing. We've got a white 10, and that is long range. So we will go to stage 3 on long range. Good. And then we've got a green 12, which is always a good number for tech dice. And that's mechs. So we go to stage 2 on advanced mechs. All right, combat. We've got a couple. Before we do that, let's get to purchases. So Germany with the Vichy ended up with 64 after the MRP. So Germany has a base of, had a base of 39, they lost 1. And then they picked up bonuses for Sweden, so that was a +3. And we had 11 in the bank for the French bank. And then on top of that, we collect 6 for the Vichy. So in this turn, we've decided to invest on the Vichy. So we're going to spend all of our money. We're going to spend, we lost 2 to rating. So up here, we lost 2 to the British rating us up here on the northern line here. And then we're going to spend another $1 to repair the airfield in Paris, and then $1 because apparently the showers and latrines were bombed in the shipyard in Western Germany. So we'll need to fix those up, otherwise the sailors won't be too happy at all. All right, so that's going to leave us with 60 in the bank. So with that, we've got a strategic bomber for 12. We've got 2 airborne apiece, so they're 3 each, so that's 18. 1 fleet submarine, that's 4, that's 24. There's 2 Vichy in it, so that's 30. So it's a French Foreign Legion and a militia. That takes us to 30. The militia here, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42. And then the infantry, 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, and 60. So that's the burger with the lot, and that's everything. All right, so that's our money. And we collected for MRP last turn because we took Poland out. All right, combats. All right, we've got a couple. Let's start with the easiest one down here. So we've got the Vichy submarine that's sitting in M1. Is simply going to come out 1 into M2, 2 into A44, 3 into 46, and just auto kill that transport there. So that's an easy one. We don't need to worry about too much about that. All right, we're going to raid here in C zone A48. There's a lot of activity here in the Atlantic. We've also got this battle here in Normandy. So what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to put this down just so it's easier rather than joking around all over the place. So we're going to pick up 1 airborne out of Bavaria here. And that's going to fly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and land back in Alsace-Lorraine. No, coming back from the airport. No, that's right. It was coming from the airfield. That's right. So I still have that bonus movement back into Bavaria. I thought that was right. All right, coming out of Paris. Let me just make sure I get this right. Coming out of Paris, we're going to have 2 mechanised and 2 medium armour. So I'll have 2 mechanised and 2 medium armour joining the battle. So that's 1 battle. There we go there, against that lone infantry. Better get that done without too much trouble. All right, the second battle will be in the Netherlands. All right, so we've got this stack of troops here, Dutch troops. So we've got 3 infantry And unfortunately, we've now got 3 militia to contend with as well. So attacking them will be this stack here from Belgium. So 4 infantry will come over with the artillery. Joining them will be 2 fighters out of East Germany. So they're going to come from East Germany, 1, 2, and they'll land back into West Germany. So they'll participate in that battle. I'm just going to put them somewhere where they're not too in the way. So those 2 fighters are going to come into there. All right, that's that battle. What else do I want to do there? I'm actually also going to bring 1 Marine into that battle, which is kind of counterintuitive, but I do have my reasons. All right, so battle 3. All right, so let's just move the camera a little bit over here. And we're going to be attacking Western Yugoslavia. So coming out of Hungary will be a fighter. I should have split this off. That was bad planning. And 1... Do I want to bring 2 infantry or 1 infantry? I'm going to bring 1 infantry. Okay. And I'm just going to chip that out. So mess that up. All right, so 1 infantry. Also coming into this battle will be the cavalry from Bavaria. It's going to come 1, 2 and join in that battle there. So we'll have the 4 cavalry. The fighter from Hungary at the end is going to come back into Bavaria. Into Bavaria. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then it'll land back into Bavaria. That's the plan there. The tactical coming from Bavaria, same thing, 1, 2, and we'll land back into Bavaria. So that's that battle there. I think that's it for our battles. I think that's it. Just make sure I'm not missing anything. That's supposed to be a non-combat move. All right, there's no battle there. All right, let me just double check. I think I've got everything good to go. All right, I think we're right. All right, we can start rolling some dice. So let's start with the raid down there in A48. So we're still sitting +2 for fleet submarine. There's no other modifying factors, so it'll just be a +2. Black is the German dice. Have I got a British one? Yeah, I've got a British one. Okay, here we go. Of course. So 4 to 3. So we take a whole buck off him. Wow, I really put it to him, aren't we? So we take $1 off the British there in A48. Sum total of our rating so far. All right, let's get to this battle here in Normandy. So we've got the 2 medium armor, 2 mechanized, and 1 airborne. There's no river penalties or anything along those lines because we're coming straight out of Paris. And Rondel to Rondel, there's nothing in the way from that direction. All right, so there's no first strikes. So we've got a paratrooper at a 3, and the mechanized, I'm pretty sure, also regular mechs at 3 as well. Yep. So it'll be 3 to 3. Just grab my dice. So the 2 mechanized and the airborne. All right, 3s. There we go. And we get a hit there. So we get the 1 hit that we need. I'm just going to roll his in return. So he's 1 infantry in return is a 10. So we succeed there in recapturing the Dieppe raid, which was a disaster, just like in real life. All right, I'm sure Hambone's got other diabolical plans for me elsewhere. All right, now let's fight this pretty cagey looking battle in here. I'm not feeling good about this one. All right, so going in, we will have 4 infantry and a marine. So we'll have 5 at 2, but we get 2 first strikes first of all, and we'll boost 2 infantry. So let's do our 2 first strikes and see if we can at least take out some of those militia. Oh, okay, so we get a 1. So we get a militia straight off the bat, so that's not a terrible start. That takes him down to 2 militia. All right, now we get to the infantry part. So we've got 4 infantry, that'll be, and 2 of those are boosted to 3. So let's do those first, the 2 boosted infantry. And they both miss. So remaining, there should be 3 at 2 because we've got a total of 5 infantry class units, including that marine. So we've got 3 at 2. Okay, so that's a pretty good result. Not going to complain about that. So we get 2 hits. So he'll lose the last 2 of his his militia. And now we've got our 2 fighters at 6, and if we can get 1 more hit, it's not a bad start to the battle. And a 9-11. So as soon as I say anything, I jinx myself. All right, so firing back, he's got, because 1 militia was killed outright, so he's got 2 at 2. Of course, he gets a hit. So we'll lose an infantry. Trading infantry for militia, just what I love to do. All right, so we're now down to 3 infantry and a marine. All right, so now he's got his 3 infantry at 4, and this is where he could really hurt me. So 3 at 4. He gets another hit, so we'll have to lose another infantry, which sucks. So now we're down to 2 infantry and a marine, 2 artillery, and 2 fighters. So let's do our 2 boosted class infantry. It doesn't really matter if it's the marine or the infantry. Let's just say it's the infantry, just for ease. So we've got 2 at 3 there, plus we've got our 2 artillery. So it'll be 4 at 3 and 1 at 2. So let's go 4 at 3 first. And we get 1 hit, so that's not terrible. So he's down to 2 infantry. And then we've got 1 unboosted infantry, or it's a marine, I should say, at 2. He misses. And then we've got our 2 fighters at 6, and hopefully they can seal the deal. And we get 2 hits. Awesome. So that is the end of him. He gets 3 back at 4 though. And this is the part I'm not looking forward to. So 3 back at 4. Of course he does. And he gets another hit. So we lose another infantry. So we just take the Netherlands with 1 infantry and 2 artillery. And that just feels like the theme so far for this campaign. So we go up 2. I actually go up 3 because we'll take 1 back for Normandy. So let's just adjust this now. So we go to a base of 41. All right, so that's that battle done. So we take the Netherlands, like I said, with 1 infantry, 1 marine, and 2 artillery. Okay, so they are there. The 2 fighters will land in West Germany, as previously described. So the 2 fighters gone back. All right, let's go to our last battle in Western Yugoslavia. So I really ummed and ahed about this battle. The idea of mountains is just, yeah. I think I'm traumatized after what happened in Spain. All right, so he's got 2 infantry and a militia defending Western Yugoslavia, which is worth 2. There's no first strikes. So let's get things rolling. So we have, let's start with so we have an infantry at a 1, So 1 infantry to 1. That's a 7, not a 1, unfortunate. And then we have 4 infantry, 4 cavalry at a 2. So 4 at a 2. Come on. Don't go to the casino with me, seriously. Just, yeah, if I ever invite you to go to the casino, which is never, yeah, just don't go with me. All right, let's go fighter at 6. Of course. And let's go tactical and see if that can also miss. So we get a hit. So we'll kill his militia. Now, actually, he's got a cavalry as well. I forgot to mention that. So his militia back at 2. Should have rolled his cavalry at the same time. So that's a miss. That's good. His cavalry also at a 2. That misses. Praise Jesus. And then 2 infantry at 4. Here we go. Here comes the pain. Oh, small mercies. They miss. All right, let's go to the next round of combat. Let's see if we can hit something. All right, so he's down to 2 infantry and a cav. All right, so let's go for our 1 infantry at 1. Misses. And now we've got 4 at 2 for our 4 cav. Okay, some good numbers here. We got 2 hits. All right, stop moaning. All right, so he'll lose his cav and 1 of his infantry. Let's see if we can finish this battle off. If only cavalry could blitz. All right, so we've got a fighter at 6, and that's a hit. All right, so that's the end of that. So now I'm going to roll his defense. So he'll have 2 infantry back at 4. Thankfully they miss. And then he'll have his cavalry back at a 2. Oh yeah, okay, things went okay there in the end. I think we took a casualty there, which is actually unusual. Even the cat's protesting. All right, so we take Western Yugoslavia for 2 more bucks. Now that's going to flip Eastern Yugoslavia. All right, so that's going to flip them, and Britain's going to go up a box. So I'll go up to 43, and Britain will go up to 28. Just give them the British money, because that's what we like to do. All right, the 2 planes, so the fighter and the tactical, will fly back to Bavaria, where they'll refuel for the coming missions in the coming months and years, probably. All right, that leaves me quite light on there. All right, that's what non-combat's for. All right, let's check that I've done all my combats. And while you're doing that, you can look at the board. And I think, yeah, I've done that. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, let's get to some non-combat. Okay. We can get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. All right, so we have a sub that is sitting in A3 up here, and that's going to go to A27. So 1 into 16, 2 into 20, 3 into 27. And just hang out there, just say hello to those destroyers. We have another submarine, which is sitting in A11, is going to come out 1 to 6, 2 to A4, 3 to A3, and take that familiar, well-trod path. We're going to rail 2 medium armor out of Warsaw, out of Paris into Warsaw. It's not that we don't trust the Russians, it's just an insurance policy, Russia, so don't fret. I just don't need that much armor. And in Paris. People are complaining that there's tanks going around and they're upsetting everyone in the Louvre. Alright, so we've used 2 rails. All right, 1 rail move out of Berlin will be 1 infantry, which will rail down to Hungary there and just join that other infantry, just blocking off so that those troops here in Eastern Yugoslavia don't get any funky ideas. Okay. All right, we have a motorized, which is going to drive from East Germany 1-2 into Königsberg. That's what that arrow is all about, going to Königsberg. Apparently it's nice this time of year. All right. All right. It's funny, you think you have more stuff than you do, but you don't. All right, yes, so 2 infantry out of this stack. So I've used 2 rail movements. So 2 infantry are going to rail to Slovakia. And I'll get a piece there for that. And that's our 4 rail movements. Used all of those up. So it's good to maximise those. And that creates at least some sort of a protective front. Again, not that we don't trust our Russian friends. Okay. All right. All right, I think that just about does it. All right, let's get to place units. Sorry for the lingering there. All right, so let's start with the Vichy stuff first. That's kind of fun. So we've got a French Foreign Legion, there's a Vichy one, and the militia will both go into French Sudan. Check out what's going on down there. That guy's in Liberia. We have our strategic bomber, which will go into West Germany, joining the rest of the Luftwaffe in there, if he wants to go in there. Probably not. All right, now militia. Let's just do the fleet sub as well. Fleet sub just goes into A11. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, just another fleet sub in A11. All right, one airborne into Bavaria, 1 into East Germany, West Germany. I say East Germany for West Germany. All right, then we've got a free volunteer from Spain. We need to do some Spanish stuff too in a moment, which I will do. Then we need to place some militia. So 1 into Alsace-Lorraine, 1 into Paris, 1 into Aquitaine, 1 into Picardy, 1 into Belgium, and then we've got 1 into Hungary, just there. And then we've got our 6 infantry to place. So 2 of them will go into West Germany, and I'm definitely going to need a card now because that's turning into a bit of a mess. We've placed our free guy already into Berlin. We'll have another 2 into West Germany, 1 into Paris, and then 1 into Warsaw, just up here. That should be it. All right, that's everything. All right, let's go over Spain real quick. All right, so the heavy cruiser and transport will leave port here in Galicia-Leon and come up 1, 2, 3 into A22. All right. So they're just hanging out in A22. All right, so the Spanish units, the mountain infantry will fall back into Madrid, as will, let's leave the cavalry there. The fighter will come back to Madrid. Or do I want it there? Yeah, we will. And the other infantry will come back into Madrid. In fact, everything will come back into Madrid except for one infantry in Catalonia, just in the mountains there. All right, so in Madrid, there'll be 2 regular infantry, 1 mountain infantry, 1 cavalry, and 1 Condor Legion. All right, the Spanish ships have sailed to A22. All right, let's go over disposition shortly, and we'll do income. So this turn, we're going to collect 49 IPP for Germany. So we're not going to collect anything for the Vichy this turn. So we'll go 49, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be aligning, because we can do this in the place units phase, we're going to align Central Romania, which I believe also triggers a D12 for Russia, which I'll do now. I forgot to check it, but I'm fairly certain. If this is irrelevant, then we can just disregard it, but this will be the income dice roll of 4. So I'm pretty sure that's what needs to happen because it's in their sphere of influence. So Russia goes to 33. All right, so we'll align Romania, which will give us another 4. I think it's 4, no, 3. Gives us another 3, so it takes us to a base of 46, okay? And then we're going to also pick up the bonus 3 for Romania. All right, so that takes us to 46, 52 base IPP plus another 6. So that should take us to 58. And if our friends to the east keep the peace, we'll pick up another 5. So we're at 58 IPP for next turn. Like I said, we're collecting it all for the Germans this turn. All right, the Free French are going to have to fend for themselves. And on that, we'll need to do a couple of recruitment rolls now. So we need to do Finland, we need to do Spain, and we need to do the Vichy. All right, so let's quickly do Finland at a 1. 11, 2 1s, that's no good. All right, then we've got Spain at a 6 now, because you just count the main territories. And they get a 4. So what we will do is we'll add 2 militia. And we're going to put 2 militia. We're going to put 1 into Catalonia and 1 into Galicia and Leon. Okay, so 1 there, 1 there. All right, let's go and do the Vichy recruitment roll at a 2. Yep, no luck there, that's a 10. All right, so if I've done my math correctly, 58 for next turn, plus a possible 5, which I'm hoping for Germany. Let's do a quick disposition. Sorry, this turn's taken so long. All right, let's start in the scene. This stuff's all dead and needs to be put away. So in C Zone A3, there's a fleet sub, A27 fleet submarine, Vichy fleet sub in A46, German fleet sub in A48. We can get rid of that now. German units. All right, let's go into here. Oh, we'll get to remove this damage because we repaired it. So, yep, that's done in the place units phase. So we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of, we fixed the showers and the latrines in West Germany. And I'm sure the troops will be very happy about that. All right, enough jibber jabbering. All right, let's go on with, all right, we've done let's do the fleet here. All right, in A11, so in port, that'll be, because that's a port, we're now going to move the port. We'll be in port on the other side, all right, because we don't like this bombing nonsense. So we're now going to be over here on the east side, and the in port will be 1 transport, 1 TBD, 2 destroyers, 1 battle cruiser, 1 battleship, and at sea will be a fleet submarine and a coastal. All right, in West Germany, there's 2 infantry, 1 airborne, 1 marine, 2 fighters, 1 strategic bomber, 1 seaplane. In the Netherlands, there is 1 marine, 1 infantry, and 2 artillery. In Belgium, there is a militia. In Picardy, there is a militia. Alsace-Lorraine, militia. Aquitaine, militia. Paris, 1 infantry, 1 militia, 2 mechanized, 3 medium armor. Normandy has 2 medium armor and 2 mechanized, 1 airborne. In southern France, just the usual 3 Vichy infantry, 1 Vichy fighter, 1 artillery. Bavaria has 1 airborne, 1 fighter, 1 tactical, 1 air transport. Berlin has I was going to move him. Anyway, all right, we might. I don't think I've moved this infantry, this mountain infantry. I'm going to move him south 1 to Bohemia. So Berlin has 1 infantry, but Bohemia, if I haven't moved this guy, has 1 mountain infantry. East Germany, 2 infantry, Königsberg, 1 motorized. In Warsaw, 1 cavalry, 1 light armor, 1 self-propelled. We have a total of 7 infantry, 2 medium armor. Definitely not threatening the Russians and will not be going any further. Slovakia, 2 infantry. Hungary, 2 infantry and a militia. Central Romania now has its starting pieces. 4 infantry, 1 cavalry, 1 fighter, 1 motorized, 1 infantry in Bessarabia. Western Yugoslavia, 1 infantry, 4 cavalry. All right, and that's British. I haven't put hang on. I got one right here. How easy. All right, that's British. Or if I've missed anything or messed anything up, please let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll turn it over now to Panzer J for the Comintern.